Bo, the friend from the forest. Every day after work, Jack took the same narrow trail that led home along the edge of the old forest. He had lived alone for years. No family, not many friends, just his loyal dog Buddy as his sole companion. Life was quiet, sometimes lonely, but Jack had grown used to the silence. That evening, darkness fell earlier than usual. Jack had worked late until 7 p.m, and by the time he stepped out of the factory, the sky had already turned a deep grey. He pulled up his collar and hurried home, when suddenly, a strange sound stopped him in his tracks. Soft, whining, like someone crying in the dark. The noise came from the roadside bushes, weak, desperate. Jack paused, listened. It was the sound of pure sorrow. His instincts kicked in. He moved closer. In the dense leaves, he saw something tiny, shivering, with wide, frightened eyes. A bear cub, so small, it looked like it had only just entered the world. Its brown fur was matted with mud, and its legs were curled up tightly from the cold. It whimpered faintly, the sound cutting through Jack like a blade. He looked around, half expecting to see the mother bear nearby. He knew this was dangerous, but after several minutes of silence, no heavy footsteps, no cracking branches, it was clear. The cub was alone. Jack knelt beside it and whispered, "Hey, little one, what are you doing out here all alone?" Without another thought, he took off his jacket, gently wrapped the fragile creature inside, and carried it home. Buddy was not thrilled. He barked, growled, clearly confused by the strange creature in their small wooden cabin. Jack had to calm him down repeatedly, while the cub, now named Bo, hid inside the warm folds of the coat, its eyes glistening with fear. Jack warmed some milk, added a bit of sugar, and fed Bo by spoon. The cub devoured it, as if it had never tasted food before. Full and warm, it fell asleep in Jack's arms, its breathing soft, its tiny paws tucked in like a kitten's. Over the following days, Bo began to adapt to the cabin. Jack built him a small shelter in the corner, bought milk, toys, and spent most of his free time caring for the wild creature that had now become a part of his heart. Buddy, after several failed attempts at barking Bo away, gradually accepted him. Before long, the two were playing together all over the yard, Bo clumsy, often tumbling over himself, and Buddy barking joyfully like he had found a little sibling. Bo grew at an incredible pace. After just 3 months, he weighed close to 200 pounds, the size of a full-grown German shepherd. Though still a cub, his strength and wild instincts had started to show. Furniture was knocked over, toys flew across the room, and Bo's running shook the wooden floorboards. Jack was exhausted, but never angry. He understood. Bo was just being who he was born to be. At night, Bo would still rest his head on Jack's leg, letting out soft, purring growls. Sometimes Jack would just watch him sleep, wondering quietly, will the day come when I have to let him go? That day came sooner than he'd expected. One afternoon, Jack watched Bo chase a squirrel and climb onto the roof in seconds. He knew then, Bo didn't belong here anymore. Not because he was dangerous, but because he deserved more. Bears weren't meant for walls and fences. They were meant for the open wild. Jack took a full week to prepare. He built a sturdy travel crate, gathered Bo's favourite toys, food, and picked the exact forest where they had first met. That morning, Jack said nothing. He gently placed Bo inside the crate, closed the door, and drove in silence. Bo didn't fuss. He just sat still, as if he too sensed that something was about to change. When they arrived, Jack opened the crate door. Bo didn't rush out. He looked at Jack with an expression that was heartbreakingly human. Then slowly, Bo stepped onto the grass, sniffed the air, and his eyes lit up. "Go on, Buddy," Jack said, voice trembling. "You need to be free." Bo began walking away, but then, without warning, he turned back, ran toward Jack, and wrapped his powerful arms around him in an embrace. He pressed his head against Jack's chest, letting out small growls, the same sound he'd made that first night in the cabin. Jack held him tightly. Then Bo turned and walked into the forest. He didn't look back. 3 years passed. Jack still walked the same path to and from work. Buddy had grown old, his steps slower, but his eyes still sharp. Jack kept pictures of Bo, sometimes taking them out late at night, heart aching with memories. He didn't expect Bo to return. The forest had claimed him, as it should. All Jack ever wished for was that Bo had survived, grown strong, and maybe, just maybe, remembered him now and then. Then, one evening in late spring, Buddy barked, a loud, sharp bark from the backyard. Not his usual bark. Jack rushed outside, heart pounding. There, bathed in golden sunset light, stood a massive brown bear, upright by the trash cans. It didn't growl, it just stood there, staring straight at him with deep, familiar eyes. Buddy growled softly, then went silent when Jack froze. It was Bo. Though larger, stronger, and clearly wild, his eyes hadn't changed. Still that gentle, soulful gaze Jack had known from the start. Bo stepped forward slowly. Jack backed up once, unsure, until Bo lifted his huge paws and gently wrapped them around Jack. A hug. Then, Bo nudged his head into Jack's chest, letting out that old, rumbling purr. He had come back. He didn't stay long. Jack quickly grabbed whatever food he had that a bear could eat and brought it out. Bo ate happily, occasionally glancing at Jack with something that felt like joy. When he finished, Bo nudged Jack once more, then turned and calmly disappeared into the forest once again. Buddy sat quietly by Jack's side, not barking, just watching. Jack stood still, heart aching, but smiling, because now he knew. Bo had lived. Bo had remembered. And once again, Bo had come back, just to say, "I'm okay, I never forgot."